Hi, my name is Eric. This is an update to yesterday's video on evaluations. Just so we don't leave you hanging. I hadn't heard anything until 10 o'clock yesterday in the morning, and that was my wife calling me to tell me that she had been moved upstairs. They had woken her up at 7:30 that morning in the ER. At that point, put her upstairs in the mental health unit. Got another call around 1 from my wife. Let me know she had her lunch, that she got her meds, because they had held her meds back the night before and that morning to see what they were going to do. And said that Jamie was just going to put her back on her regular meds and then get her settled and then ship her home. So about 10 after 2, that was the first contact that I had with the hospital, with anybody that worked there. I got her team treatment coordinator called me and wanted to know if I'd heard from my wife. I said, yeah, actually, I've talked to her twice. She said, well, good. She goes, so I'm just calling to kind of give you an update. Yeah? What happened to the night before and yesterday morning getting updated? Oh, well. Said that the doctor had decided to put her back on her meds and hold her for a day or so just to get her balanced again, and that way she'd be good to go. You know, how did I think my wife was doing? Couldn't take it any longer. I mean, I was polite and everything, but I'm like, you guys keep doing this. It's like Groundhog's Day. Everybody in this profession, instead of taking a chance and trying to help the patient, you guys are so busy with cover thy ass than what's good for the patient. Now, her doctor that said she needed an evaluation and he didn't feel comfortable with her leaving that property without going to the hospital first, he was covering his ass. The mental health staff at the outreach clinic, they're covering their ass. I mean, they say they have protocols, and they probably do, that say if a patient, needs, they feel that the patient is in crisis, then they need to step in or report it or what have you. But to the families, it looks more like cover thy ass than it is what's going on with the patient and what can they do to possibly change the negative things that are going on in his or her life. Simple. They're about smoking. Most of us smoke anyway. So I told the treatment coordinator, I said, look, the last time she was there, you did exactly what you're doing right now, and it made no changes. You thought that she'd been taken off her Alzheimer's medication when she hadn't, and you thought you found the silver bullet and kicked her ass out. Simple as that. The time before that, you put her back on her meds. The staff up there thought she was doing great because her tendency is to hide and sleep a lot and not cause trouble. So the staff likes her because, she's easy to work with. But I explained to her, I said, it's not that I don't, I said, let me just put it right out here for you. I want my wife to home. I do better when she's home. She does better when she's at home. That's the goal, is to have her home and keep her home. But now we have to look at quality of life. I said, I have to sit there and watch her go through this. She's in turmoil all the time. The voices haven't got a positive thing to say to her. So it's just like being bombarded with negative constantly. And I said that that's not fair to her, and that's not fair to me. So I said, why don't you have Jamie give me a call? That way I can talk one on one, uno on uno. And she said, well, Jamie's pretty busy, but I'll probably call you in a couple of days to give you an update on what we decided to do. All right. So I talked again with my wife. I explained to her that I talked to the treatment coordinator. She goes, you were nice, right? I said, yeah, I was nice. Well, I said I'd call a spade a spade. Sorry. I said, they just wanted to throw you back on your meds. I said, you know. She said, really? I said, yeah. I said, well, I told her I didn't like that plan. I wanted something different where quality of life. I said, I want you home. That's no question. You're coming home, no question. It's you need to come home in a better state, better quality of life so that you get some enjoyment out of life. And it's not Groundhog Day of where you're just constantly being, it's kind of like having somebody just constantly say negative things to you all day long. And she's home alone with the dogs most of the days when I'm working. So all day long, she's listening to these voices throw negative things at her. And it's no different than two or three people in the room with her saying negative things all the time. You're fat. You're this. You're that. Never a positive thing. It's your grandkids are both dead. Your dogs are dead. Your husband's dead on the side of the road. Yes, that's what the voices tell her. And by the time I got home, she is just so exhausted that she grabs something to eat, takes her night meds, and goes and gets into bed just so it quiets everything down, the meds. But as I explained to the treatment coordinator, she has what I call sunset. And sunset is when she's more towards evening the problems than early in the morning. In other words, by 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, going towards evening, that's where it gradually gets worse. And I also explained to the treatment coordinator, I said the PRN that Jamie prescribed at 1 a day, and then we bumped it up to 2 a day, was supposed to be that magic pill that gave her instant relief. She was taking 2 of those by the time I got home at 3 o'clock, and it still wasn't doing anything. These doctors should see what the medications are actually doing. But the problem is, and I understand that, is 99.9% people, 99.9% of the people that are over at the unit, all they're thinking about is getting out. They'll say and do anything to get out. And the doctor has to understand that. And being in that field for that long, she should understand that. So she needs to rely on staff. The nursing staff is there, looking at her all day long. She needs to have the staff interact with her. But most of all, she needs to be talking to someone like me that's got first-hand knowledge and what I see on a daily basis, of when I see it, how how it's coming out. I'm like a psych nurse. Hell, I'm with her most of the time. So I'm going to end that video right here. So on the evaluation, they did the evaluation. Must be they decided to put her upstairs. They were going to just put her back on her meds and ship her home. And no harm, no foul, right? Well, it would have been harm because it's not doing her any good. This is what caregivers come up against when they're trying to fight for someone that taken care of that has a mental health issue. And some of them that are caregivers, the one they're taking care of won't sign the release so that the doctors and the staff can talk to the caregiver. That happens a lot because they don't want the caregiver telling the doctor and staff everything that's been going on. Because if they did, then it would have a different view and it might keep them a day or two longer. So if you're a caregiver and the patient decides to keep you out of the loop, you're not alone. It happens all the time. I went through that years ago with my wife where I was okayed and then denied, okayed and then denied, depending on what space suit she was in that day. So anyway, she's at the hospital. Hopefully they'll get something straightened out. And we'll go from there. So hope you have a great day. Enjoy.